Good morning and welcome to August House. There we go. My name is Carter Fong. I'm the Marketing and Events Director for the City of Dickinson. I'm taking on a small speaking role that we wanted to belong to somebody else. Your new Executive Director at the Chamber is Esme Stradling. She found some ice this past week. She's limited to a scooter. We're not going to have her scoot on stage. Give us a wave one more time, Esme. How about a hand for Esme? And you'll meet the full Chamber team shortly. At this time, I want to invite forward the Chamber Board President for the current year and also the Chair of the Government Relations Committee. Please welcome Deanne Sheeler.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to August House and the Chamber's 2026 State of the City Luncheon. My name is Deanne Sheeler, as Carter said, from Trinity Catholic Schools, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize our Chamber staff members, along with the volunteers who serve on the Chamber Board of Directors and the Government Relations Committee. This includes our team of 3 on the Chamber staff, Executive Director Esme, who you just met, Membership and Events Specialist Yulia, where's Yulia? There she is, back by Esme, and Marketing and Administrative Assistant Emma Stillings. How about a hand for our Chamber team? Next, they're gonna love this. If you're a member of the Chamber's Board of Directors, please stand. Come on, guys, come on. There they are, there they are. Let's give a hand to our Chamber Board of Directors. Now we're going to have Brad Lemmel from Brevera come up to the stage. Brevera is once again our presenting sponsor for the event. Brad is going to give us a few words on behalf of Brevera.
Thank you, Deanne. Good morning, good afternoon, somewhere. I'm Brad Lemmel, and on behalf of Brevera Bank, I want to thank the Dickinson Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting the State of the City and giving us an opportunity to come together as a community. At Brevera, we're proud to call Dickinson home, as many of you are. We believe that strong communities are built on collaboration, innovation, and trust, values that guide everything we do. Today's State of the City is a perfect example of how we can work together to shape a bright future for Dickinson. As a community-focused bank, we are committed to driving the growth and prosperity of Dickinson and the surrounding region. For empowering local businesses and supporting families in reaching their financial goals, to collaborating on initiatives that strengthen our community, we're proud to play an active role in its continued success. Thank you again to the Dickinson Area Chamber of Commerce and to all of you for your leadership and commitment to making Dickinson a great place to live and work. We're honored to be your presenting sponsor today, and we look forward to continuing to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. We also would like to take a moment to thank our supporting sponsors, Wynn Construction, CHI, the DSU Heritage Foundation, the City of Dickinson, and Consolidated, as well as our luncheon sponsors, Baker Boy, Cord Energy, ConocoPhillips, Apex Engineering Group, Home and Land Company, and TMI. You might also like to know that today's program is being recorded and will be replayed at Consolidated Channel 18. So today for our lunch, I see many of you have already visited our beverage station that is here from Coca-Cola. Esme will be dismissing tables. There's a grab-and-go lunch from the Hub convenience stores, and the menu of what's in each box is listed on the wall. So when you get up there, just kind of take a look at what's up there, grab a box, and return to your table. Everybody enjoy your lunch, and we'll be back shortly for the rest of the State of the City.
Hello, everybody. My name is Xander Beeson. I am the Marketing and Events Coordinator for the City of Dickinson. And I just wanted to say, as you're finding your way back to your tables and enjoying lunch, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to those joining us by recording on Consolidated Channel 18 or the Chamber YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. We're so glad you're here with us today because this event is truly something special for our community and such a great place to learn, connect, and share ideas. And speaking of community, we're kicking things off with someone who has dedicated a lifetime to serving both our country and our community. Mayor Scott Decker is a native of Dickinson, North Dakota, and served 21 years in the United States Army and the North Dakota Army National Guard. After active duty that included Operation Desert Storm, he returned home to continue his education at Dickinson State University and become the full-time recruiter for the North Dakota Army National Guard until his military retirement in 2010. He then went on to work in the Bakken oil field as a right-of-way agent for Diamond Resources and later as a trainer for an oil field safety company. Mayor Decker was first elected to the Dickinson City Commission in 2014 and became its president in 2016. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our mayor, Scott Decker.
Thank you, Mr. Beeson. I'd like to welcome you all today to the State of the City for our great city of Dickinson. In addition to welcoming you, I'd like to do some additional thanks to the Dickinson Chamber. Again, give them a round and all their committee members for all their hard work putting into this program. I would also like to thank city staff. We have some members here today for their preparation for this program and for the hard work they put in every day at the city, making it the greatest place to live in North Dakota. Thank you. I would also like to mention some of our elected officials that are here today. We have two commissioners that are joining us today, Commissioner Jason Frederick and Commissioner Russ Murphy. Commissioner Bear wanted to be here today, but his family has suffered a tragedy out east, and he won't be joining us today. So I would like to just take a moment of silence and a prayer for Dr. Bear's family. Thank you. I'd also, I didn't see any of our county officials come in. If they're here, if any of our county commissioners here, give a wave. But I did see we have the Dickinson Park Board members. They want to raise their hands back there and joining us today, and I'd like to welcome them. Mr. Ben Ray will be part of our panel. And I'd also like to acknowledge we have a couple of our elected our legislators here today. Senator Dean Rummel is in the room, back in the corner. And Representative Vicki Steiner, there she is. Some of the topics today that we touch on as we try to touch on every year is our revenue comparison, our debt summary, and our sales tax comparison to surrounding areas and large cities. We'll also talk about some of the success stories for 2025 and look at our 2026 goals and opportunities as we see them as a city. Our financial update. As you can see, there's a lot going on these charts right here, but you can see we have had increases in sales tax, our fines, fees, licenses, and services, and our state aid. But we have also seen a downturn in our collections on property tax, our hospitality tax, and our oil impact tax. As a city, a small rise in property tax will be expected next year in collections, but we are cognitive of our revenue drop in the oil impact. At the present rate that oil is at, we expect to be at our baseline, which is about 13 million, and you can see what we collected over the last couple of years in oil impact ranging from 17 million to 16 million. but we are expecting to be closer to 13 million in the coming year. Several factors will contribute to the decreases. The funding of different items in the city, but we also see increases to sales tax with many new commercial ventures joining us, and our hospitality tax with the presidential library coming online in 2026. So it is shaping up to be a very busy year. With that in mind, we'll continue to support our local and Southwest partners in their operations. As you can see on this slide, here are some of our the city's contributions. Right now, we as a city commission, we are always watching our debt. We are trying to stay in a workable amount at any given year, moving on to the next. But we also realize that investment in our community is important. We've had major discussions over the last couple of months to some of the needs, and you're going to hear that from our panel today of what we are looking at and what is coming down the pipeline in the future, and some of the other things that our community needs to keep growing and keep our citizens in a good state and wanting to stay in our region. I anticipate a small increase in our debt in 2026 going forward with some of these projects that we are seeing, and again, our panel will talk about that. We'd always like to do a sales tax comparison, this year especially. For those of you that watched the county commission meeting this last Tuesday and go on that great app, What's Up Dickinson, you've probably seen some discussion about a proposed sales tax increase by Dickinson City Commission and putting that on the ballot in June. The options for us to put it on are either this June or we wait 2 years. You can't have a special election. You can't have a special vote for this kind of sales tax to be levied. So we have the option of putting it on this ballot, June, or waiting 2 years. And when we talk about a sales tax, this is not just impacting the residents of Dickinson. This is everybody that passes through our great city, en route east or west. And with the presidential library coming online, there are going to be a lot of visitors here that will be contributing through sales tax by purchasing goods within the city. As you can see from the numbers, if I go back a couple slides here, our sales tax collection far outweighs what we collect in property tax. So enough talk about money and not fun stuff. Now let's talk about some fun stuff. Going forward, Legacy Square this year, this was a big endeavor for the City Commission, our city staff, and all the residents that contributed. And 2025 was a great year for this facility that opened in 2023. As you can see, we've kept this facility very busy over the years. It is not just a concert facility, it is a place for everyone to meet. And as you can tell, we have events ranging from sport events to musical concerts, tree lighting, to little great events that our community can participate in. All in all, we continue to program and look at different ways to keep that facility busy all the time. If it's from dock dogs to basketball 3-on-3 to a Giving Hearts or just any smaller event that somebody wants to use the facility, we're always there. But as you can see, one of our biggest things is our draw is our concerts. And the biggest concert last year was the Scotty McCreery concert. I think that to date is the biggest concert we've ever had between the Legacy Square and the First on First events and that existed in Dickinson. Going forward, I want you to save these dates. We had 4 concerts last year. This next coming year, we're going to have 6. Right now, we're in the final negotiations for the final concert. I really, really was on Carter to let me make an announcement, but he won't. I'll just say this, I am really excited about July 2nd. I am personally. So I think everybody is. It's going to be a pretty great night, and then we have all the other events going on at the library. So there will be a lot of people in town, and I'm excited. So going forward, our 2026 goals and opportunities. Might have a little delay. Oh, skipped over everything here. Getting a little delay. While this catches up, I'll just talk about some of our areas of growth that we are looking at as a city is our development and our construction growth. We are continuously working with all the partners within our community to develop land, put in new residential, new apartments that are needed to meet with our workforce. Our panel will talk about our museum expansion, our library expansion, Baylor building expansion, and the possibility of a new fire EMS station. The city took on the ambulance service last year, and we are outgrowing our facilities very quickly. I'm excited about the airport. They'll break ground this spring. They will begin construction on a new terminal that is long overdue. Thank you to the legislators for helping with this. Thank you to the county members for helping with this. This facility will really impact the amount of travel that's going through Dickinson and allow a lot of different opportunities with the presidential library coming to town, visitors to our great city. And then we welcome our new Readiness Center this year, which I am extremely proud of. These individuals, they work very hard to bring this facility. Again, the legislators, local community members, city staff, and the National Guard members constantly staying on the state to bring us a new facility that was promised to us in 1992. And I would like to say, you know, this gives the opportunity for those soldiers out there now to work in a very modern setting and have the training facility that they need to be prepared for whatever may come down the pipeline for them, be it a deployment or just a state, I shouldn't say just a state, but a state deployment if needed. And that can happen at any time, as many of us know, because we have seen in the past how the Dickinson unit has stood up and been sent over to Iraq or been sent to Fargo or the Red River Valley, even Minot, to assist with flooding. So they must be prepared all the time. I'm excited that we have this facility, and it really, really goes to seeing what faith that the state National Guard has in us as a growing facility to put this kind of money into us. But yes. And I would thank you for all the hard work. I look around this room, and I was making a comment earlier. Every board that I sit on, every community event, it seems like it's the same people. But I know where your hearts are. I know that you love this city. You're here every day working hard to make it the best place in North Dakota to live and raise a family and prosper at a business. And I appreciate all of your hard work. You guys, you make this job, our job as commissioners, very easy because your dedication and willingness to step up when the time is right and benefit not only Dickinson, but all of the southwest corner of the state. So thank you again so much. God bless Dickinson, God bless North Dakota, and God bless the great United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Decker, for your remarks and your service. Next, we will have a panel of department leaders, and our moderator will be Carter Fong. Most of you know him well, so I'll read an alternate bio for him. Carter was a 4th grade honor roll student at Dickinson's Jefferson Elementary. His mom made him that windbreaker, and God, I say, that wind didn't stand a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, Carter Fong.
Yeah, you know, you'd think that I had enough hairspray to hold that head of hair in place to age 42, but no such luck here. So thought we'd mix it up a little bit. That we can advance the slide at the end there. Okay. Good. Before I introduce our panelists, I want to briefly touch on the importance of developing and supporting our young adults in Dickinson. I'm sure thankful the support that I had from 4th grade through high school, college, and beyond. 2 great things happened to me. You may know about me that I have education in my background, but also that I moved on from full-time education in 2019 to the community. Okay, but I'm so thankful, and I will always have that part of me that wants to educate, that there was a need at the city to take on the Youth Commission. And we have 11 great high school students from Dickinson High and Trinity working together, becoming more active in their community, learning how to run a meeting, and getting involved. Looking ahead, we anticipate they'll be involved in preparation for the Heroes Ball. They're going to engage with the Moonshot Task Force on the topic of mental health within their age group. And they're going to work on getting out the vote in November. We want high voter participation, and 3 of them will turn 18 by that November general election date. I also want to say one of the great things that happened is that Dickinson State University invited me to teach a course in the Theodore Roosevelt Honors Leadership Program. I've got 2 DSU students who may or may not want the attention right now. They are in the back, but Gracie and Bridget, please stand up. Gracie Roller is a DSU Theodore Roosevelt scholar. Bridget is a DSU student. Bridget likes public speaking. So keep her in mind. How about a hand for those 2 DSU students? I want to tip my cap to Esme, a relatively recent college graduate who's now leading a great chamber team with excellent support from their volunteer board. And we've come this far, we haven't yet thanked our host. Here's what I need to say about Jamie Sickler and her team, okay? Not only does she have a great facility and she has high standards, she is also very easy to work with, and that combination of all 3 is not easy to find. How about a hand for Jamie Sickler and August House? While we have some great young talent in the room, our panelists are firmly middle-aged. Let's meet them. I'll take my seat over there. We'll invite them up one at a time. When I was a 4th grader, I wanted to be a firefighter. Then I grew up and I couldn't grow a mustache. Not a problem for the chief and anyone in his department. It's now Dickinson Fire and EMS. He'll tell us more. He's been our fire chief since 2020. Please welcome Jeremy Presnell. Our next panelist has the type of name that would have caused my teaching colleague Heather Skino to ask, "Can I buy a vowel?" He's our city engineer and Community Development Director since September of 2012. Please welcome Joshua Sklezacek. By the way, you're just Josh now the rest of the day. Got it right once. Our final panelist became the Executive Director for the award-winning Dickinson Parks and Recreation Department in July of 2022. Please welcome Benjamin Ray. Jeremy and I will share this microphone. Josh, you've got one over there. You'll share with Ben. We'll make it happen. Okay? So not a lot of gender diversity or age diversity. This is kind of the middle-aged dads panel. You've all been tricked. This is kind of group therapy up here. Okay? But what we may lack in gender and age diversity, I'm told we are just oozing with charisma, this group, all of you, right? That's what, they love the microphone, they love the spotlight. Okay, whether that's true or not, I'm thankful that they're willing to step up and be on stage today, get in the arena, as Theodore Roosevelt would say. Okay. One more item of good news. We're going to get to know you better without putting a giant plate of hot wings in front of you. Okay, we do offer that option too at the City of Dickinson, and I love what our IT department is doing, getting to know folks in another way. But when I tell people the simple version of my job description is to sell Dickinson, you all do that in your own way. These gentlemen had to be sold on Dickinson, North Dakota within the last 4 to 6 years. You and your family made a move here. So I want to know, first of all, what sold you on Dickinson, North Dakota, and then how did you sell that to your family where you moved from? Tell us, in this case, I want to hear from Josh first.
Yeah, thanks, Carter. All right, thanks, Carter. Yeah, we moved here in late 2020, and one of the key attributes that we found to be a real attractant was the community center, the rec center. So that was a big selling point for us.
How about ages of your children? Who's using that? Oh,
10,
okay.
8, and 5 as of today. Actually, our daughter just.
The questions get tougher. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Since we heard about the community center, why don't you hand off to Ben next?
I think I'm going to start with my kids. When we were looking to move here, my son was 14 years old. He was the easiest to sell. He wanted Little Caesars and internet, and that's all he needed. My wife and my daughter, she was 13 at the time. School is very important to us, and even though we homeschool, it's important for us to know what the schools offer wherever we go. And we have not been disappointed here. My 2 kids have participated at both Dickinson and Trinity in various programs and have had a phenomenal experience. But when I was looking at it, I'm a recreation guy, so what's important to me is recreation. And I've been around the country quite a bit, and I think you would be hard-pressed to find a community of 25,000 that has the quality and the number of facilities that exist here in Dickinson, from the community center, ice center, golf course, Patterson Lake, and all the parks that exist. You're just not going to find that in very many places like you do here.
Good. Chief Presnell, why Dickinson?
I can honestly say that I don't know that Dickinson was in my top 10 lists of place to move. But what really sold it for me is when I got to come down and visit for my interview. I came down a few days earlier. I kind of went out to explore Dickinson and kind of get a feel for the community. And everybody was just so friendly and inviting. And it was right in the middle of COVID, and people were still willing to sit down and talk and have some discussions. And then what really sold me was when I actually got to meet the firefighters. I knew immediately that it was a group of people that I wanted to be a part of that team and just come to Dickinson. And it's just reiterated every single day how welcoming Dickinson is to my family, how much they've accepted us, and just all the great things to do here. So Dickinson's just a wonderful place.
Glad to hear you say that. And so then you arrive, each of you, into your new role. And I would hope it was a nice list of things that were already in good order for you when you arrived, but then your fresh new perspective was needed somehow also in any order. When you arrived, what was in good order? What needed a fresh look?
Well, I think for me, the hardest thing was I was following a legend.
Is he in the room?
Is he here? No, he's got to be here, so I better say nice things. You know, James Kramer had been with the Park District for 30 years and was retiring. So when you say what was going well, a lot was going well. It was going to be really hard to follow that. I think the biggest thing that I could bring is just a fresh perspective. Could come in, look at what we were doing well, and look for how we could take that to the next level. Really evaluate our programming and our facilities and make sure we truly were providing our community the best that we could.
I think for me, I got pretty lucky. My predecessor really built a great foundation. The fire department was in a really good spot. So we didn't really have to focus on fixing anything. It was just kind of progressing, making some advances and adjusting to what the community needed. We really got to just focus on growth and not have to fix stuff. So it was in a really good place, and I really have to give my predecessor credit for that.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think ultimately during the 2010s, there was a significant amount of growth that occurred, and a lot of infrastructure got extended, and a lot of availability for future growth was really created. And so when I came in, I think the real refocusing was on, okay, we have a lot of infrastructure, some of it's aged, but we need to be maintaining all of that and really investing those dollars towards the maintenance of the existing facilities and the existing infrastructure.
Yeah, and a name that you mentioned to me that I want to give him credit, and Craig Kubis, you could regard as a predecessor of yours, highly regarded in our community, gone too soon. I believe in the 2010s, at one point, he was a chamber board president. The best compliment I could give to Craig Kubis is that his children are young adults, and Craig and Nikki did a heck of a job. Craig would have been a heck of a middle-aged dad's panelist in the 20-teens, but there was a void to fill there, and in a way, he's a predecessor of yours, and you needed to step in. Is that about right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Okay, so you oversee departments of varying sizes. Let's talk workforce. What do you have? What do you need? Are you fully staffed or running lean? And short-term, long-term, what does that look like in any order?
Want me to take this one first? We're doing pretty good. We're still down 2 paramedics. Good news is we have a couple of applications in hand, and we're just getting ready to set up some interviews. When it comes to the fire side of stuff, we don't really have a problem with recruitment. We've set up some really great partnerships with the CTE and with Dickinson State, which has just turned into workforce pipelines for us. Through the CTE, we have several fire programs for the high school students to really kind of get a feel, and for us to get them interested in fire really early. And then we were able 3 years ago to partner with Dickinson State for an associate's program that a lot of these students are moving into, and we're getting a lot of student athletes as well that are coming into it. And because of that, we're actually working for the fall to actually expand that into a bachelor's program. So to kind of combat some of the issues we're seeing with recruitment for EMS, which is a nationwide problem, we're working on some stuff with Dickinson State right now that I think is going to have the same effect as our fire programs, and we're really excited to see how that works out for us.
Do you personally teach a course? Do you insist that they call you Professor Presnell? How does that look?
I do teach a few, and the other 2 that are here with me today teach the rest of them, but they just call me Jeremy.
Fair enough. Okay, workforce, what do you have? What do you need?
We have a lot of employees in the Park District. We have 350 part-time employees in any given year and 30 full-time employees. I was going to ask a quick question to the audience here because I'm always curious to know, how many of you here today at some point have ever worked for the Park District? All right, that's a good number of hands. We like to consider ourselves kind of the front door of employment for most young employees. They come in, they work as lifeguards, they work as officials or work in our programs. So we really like to get people off to a good start. And I really like the way you worded that question. Running lean is kind of how we run everything. So we're really pretty tight on what we run as far as staffing. The most difficult spots we have is usually our maintenance positions and officials. Those are the hardest ones to come by.
Yeah, so in engineering and community development, we have, thankfully right now, we're actually soon to onboard a new GIS technician, and that's a new position for 2026. But once that person actually onboards, we'll be fully staffed for the first time since I've been with the city. With that being said, similar to what Benjamin mentioned, we run quite lean. If you look at comparable communities to our size or those that are larger, if you look at the total number of engineering staff in particular, we run quite lean, and so that's a testament to the staff that we have on hand that we can pull our weight and then some and get a lot of things done. So.
I think you hired a new engineer and introduced him at this week's city commission meeting. It was like the world's shortest introduction. It was hi, I'm Daniel. Nice to be here. Is that about right?
Yeah, so we just hired a project engineer. He's on week 2 right now, and we're very excited. He's doing a great job digging into a lot of different things that Mr. Keller and I have not had the opportunity to get into, just with all the other projects that we're pushing forward. So eager to have him continue to make some progress and help us along as we get things done.
Good. Okay. You've stepped into the arena today. We appreciate that. You get the benefit of being in a controlled environment. We're not totally scripted today, but we're not totally wing it either. But imagine you get back to your office, phone rings, and you're told a call's being forwarded to you, and it's a concerned citizen. Okay, and it might be entirely valid criticism. We have to be responsive to our community. It might be partially correct, but needing more information. Okay, but you're told concerned citizen on line 1. Let your imagination run for a bit. What are you bracing yourself for right now, and what maybe is misunderstood about you and your department? In any order.
I guess I'll go first, huh? I would be to think about something EMS related right now, but I think one of the biggest things that we get questions about or people are concerned about is why are the big fire trucks always at the store, or why are they always out and about? And the short answer to that is the crew has to go with the truck. We can't just take one person off the truck, put them in a smaller vehicle to go run and get something that we need to fix a piece of equipment, or even to run and get groceries. And we do value that interaction with our community. That is an opportunity for us to get out and actually interact with a group that we might not get to interact with. And we would love to interact with everybody in our community before we actually have to do it on a 911 call. So we do value that a lot, and our people really, our team really they really hold that high. I mean, if you see them in the store and you ask them a question, they'll always interact. They always got stickers for the kids. They're always giving tours out in the trucks. So we do take advantage of that kind of stuff, and I get that question a lot. So that's kind of the answer.
Yeah. Concerned citizen feedback. What does that sound like on your side of the stage?
So although it is in fact February, it's a beautiful day outside, but the construction season is not officially ongoing and active for within public right-of-way. But most of the time, a lot of the calls that we get are concerned citizens related to why is this construction activity occurring in my neighborhood, or what is this going to impact, or those kind of things. So that's usually the types of questions that we get. How long is my driveway going to be blocked off? Am I going to be able to still have garbage collection occurring? Some of those kind of things. Those are usually the calls we get.
Yeah, location specific from a property owner. That makes sense to me. Benjamin, do you get any feedback negative at all at the Park District?
I'll just let you know, in case you were wondering, the outdoor ice will be terrible today. Okay? Just thought I would get that out of the way. That is one thing we hear all the time, is they want to know what's the condition of the outdoor ice. And some weeks is good and some weeks is not. But I think one of the challenges for us as a park district is just the diversity of everything that we have. And so what's important to one is not important to somebody else. So if ice is important to you, or hockey, then that's likely what we're going to hear about. Or if you attend the community center or the golf course. So I think it's a little bit difficult for us to put on what is the one area. I think the biggest challenge is just balancing all of the various needs across the community.
The community center is more than 20 years old. You're renovating the locker rooms. It's the men now. How are the men handling that?
I'll be honest with you, not as well as the women did.
Good. Okay, let's pivot a little bit, and the two sides of the stage are going to get two different questions, and I think you'll understand why when you look at them. From your side of the stage, I'm looking for a middle-aged dad health and fitness tip. Short and sweet. What do you have for us?
All right, I'm just going to put it out there so you can all hold me accountable. I am training for a half Ironman in September. So now you have all heard me say that, and that's what I think part of fitness accountability is. That's how I stay motivated. So when you see me from now on, you can say, how's your training going? And I'll tell you how it is that day.
So anybody that's known me for any amount of time, I have a real sweet tooth, and maybe that's a surprise to some because I try not to engage in that, but I love sweets, and so I really try hard to stay away from the sugar.
There you go.
And then otherwise, do my best to basically every day bring my own lunch and kind of the portion control. I guess that's kind of the goal.
Chief Presnell, our turn. Is there anything that can't be cooked on a Traeger grill? Go.
Absolutely not. I am a little offended that I wasn't included in this category. I've actually, turned to the good side through taking on an ambulance service. Stress is actually a good weight loss plan.
Well, at least you can use a Traeger. I am your Foreman grill guy on stage, okay? So, thought you'd have fun with that question. One more round table, then we'll go department specific, 5 minutes apiece. But the final simple question to you, what do you enjoy most about your job? In any order.
I can answer that one quick. For me, it's super easy. I get to wake up every morning and go to the best job in the world. I truly believe that. I just love what I do, and it makes it even better when I get to go to work and work with a team that inspires me every day, and that just really keeps me motivated. We've put together an excellent team at the fire department, and just even expanding out beyond into the executive team, I'm constantly inspired by the people I'm around, and they just keep me going and make me just want to do better. So.
What do you enjoy about your job?
Piggyback onto what Jeremy said, there's a lot of great people that work for the city, and we get to actually, have some fun while we're doing things. So, I think in particular we get to
Keep going.
we get to actually have fun doing what we're doing, and that's always enjoyable. I think ultimately it's been very rewarding from the perspective of there's a lot of great things going for the community. We've seen a lot of, although there are small development opportunities, we've seen a lot of things come to fruition in the last few years since I've been with the city. And then there's been a number of the individual capital improvement projects and those kind of things that I think there's been some that have been just kind of hanging out there for some period of time, and we've been able to really make some change in a lot of the different neighborhoods and whatnot, and I think that's been fantastic. So,
I think for me, it reminds me of what my kids used to say when they were young. If somebody asked them what their dad does for work, they would say he works at the pool. And I think I try and remind myself that I work in recreation. I mean, there's not a lot of better things out there than that. But outside of that, it's the people that I work with. I have the best park board in the world. They do a lot for our community, and I have an amazing staff. And I love working with them and everything they do and how much they love this community.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm glad you were sold on Dickinson. Thank you for your work. We're going to call the second half of the panel the Scotty McCreary portion. What do I mean by that? Scotty's got a song called 5 More Minutes. So we're going to spend 5 more minutes department specific. Chief Presnell will go first. Maybe let's give him that microphone, and then we'll go on down the line. This might be a short and sweet answer, but yesterday I saw the back of a Dickinson Fire and Rescue ambulance. It says, stay 343 feet behind an ambulance. Where do those digits come from?
We actually consulted with Josh. He did the engineering behind it and kind of calculated. The 343 is a tribute to, it's the number of firefighters that died at 9/11. So it's just a way of remembrance for those firefighters that paid the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11.
Good. Thank you for that. I made sure to get the answer beforehand to note up what I was getting into there, but a great tribute there. Of course, I want you to discuss in greater detail the transition from Dickinson Ambulance to Dickinson Fire and Rescue on July 1 of 2025. Ways to frame this might be, what was the implementation timeline? What was the heaviest lift? And what fraction of the EMS work is now being done by your existing staff, and what had to be new hires and new training? Take any of those angles, but tell us more about that transition.
Yeah, I have 5 minutes to explain that transition. There were a lot of late nights, early mornings. Originally, the plan that we had was for a year and a half to kind of transition, get stuff ready. That got pushed up by 6 months, so we had just under a year to get it done. It took a lot of planning, applying for licenses, no exaggeration, hundreds of meetings, and hiring people. We ended up bringing on an additional 17 staff. So that was quite the process of trying to find those people and trying to get them onboarded. And we didn't take over until midnight on July 1st. So, I mean, exactly midnight, we were at the old ambulance place, grabbing the ambulances, going back to the fire station. The mayor and Dusty were both there to lend a hand, and it was stocking ambulances, getting people on them. And I think we took our first call 15 minutes later, which was successful. Everything's going pretty good now. You know, contrary to what's on What's Up Dickinson last night, you know, we are generating revenue. We're on track right now going into 2026 where we'll actually break even if we maintain our collection rate. So we're looking pretty good, but it was a lot of hard work, countless hours, and the two people here with me today can attest to that because they were right there with me. So.
And let's talk more about taking those calls. I'm a numbers guy, so give me the typical month or the average month in terms of monthly volume and types of calls that you receive, okay? Think about it as what percentage are the cat is stuck in the tree, what percentage are a house fire, traffic incident, what's the call volume look like?
I think we're averaging 300 plus calls a month. We do about 5 calls a day. Last year, for 2025, we ended up with 2,000 calls. That's pretty on par from where we were. We were only running the ambulance service for 6 months, so that really didn't have a massive impact. And it's a variety of calls. EMS does account for 70% of our call volume. That's the majority of the calls we're going on. And it's a variety of calls. A lot of them are seasonal. So obviously in the wintertime, we see a lot of slips and falls, illness from the flu, cold, stuff like that. In the summertime, it's just a variety of different calls. So it's really tough to really pin it down. And yes, we do get cats in trees, actually probably about once a month.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, okay? But again, that call comes in and a determination has to be made. Do we send police? Do we send fire? Do we send ambulance? Do we send all of the above? Us in the community, we see the flashing lights. Tell us more about how it's determined who to send and in what order, and has this evolved through the years at all? Tell us a little more on that.
Yeah, I'd first have to start out by just shouting out our dispatch center. They're a great group of people out there. They do a really good job. But the determination comes from what information's received on the call. Sometimes it's a lot of good information, sometimes it's very little. So sometimes it's really difficult to make a decision on what needs to go. So when you see the police car, the fire truck, and an ambulance going, it's either because it's a very critical call or it's a call that we just don't know what's going on, so it's better to send everything. And as the police department likes to point out, the fire department's not actually first responders, we're second responders, because they always make it there before us, which is sometimes the case. They'll usually let us know, like, hey, it's nothing, you know, we can cancel the fire truck, or it's completely turn everything around. So a lot of it's dependent on what information is given to dispatch. In terms of how it's evolved, for us, from on our end, it really hasn't. We're still doing everything on radios. For dispatch, I'm sure that they can probably tell you there's been a lot of technology advances that have automated a lot of their processes, but that'd be a question for them.
Good. We'll go last question to you for now. I think the idea has at least been floated here already, the concept of a new fire hall for fire and EMS. Where are we at with that? What can you tell us? Careful.
We're still very early on in the process. I mean, we're really working on that, seeing how we can get it accomplished, but it is definitely needed. The current downtown fire station, you know, it's a 95-year-old building sitting on a 126-year-old foundation. So it's definitely, it wasn't designed for today's fire needs, for the heavy trucks, for the full-time staff. So it's definitely in need of a replacement, and we're looking at that, trying to see how we can.
He seems content with your answer for now.
Yeah, well, I guess I
may
can
have
leave it
gone
at that.
far
Yeah.
enough there. Good. Okay. Thanks, Chief Presnell. Why don't we hand that microphone over to Josh? And of course, my first question to you has to include the buzzword roundabouts, because we're going to get 2 within city limits in 2026. And maybe give us location of those along with the general profile of an intersection that might be suited for a roundabout, or maybe why a traffic light is not always the solution to a busy intersection.
Yeah, so in a roundabout way, I'll explain to you how roundabouts work. So the locations for the 2 new roundabouts that'll be constructed this coming year be Highway 10 and West Villard, that intersection where there's kind of a unique Y that goes through. That Y portion, once the roundabout's constructed, that Y portion will be removed. And then the other one will be down on 8th Street South and Highway 22. And so to then lead into why are roundabouts selected, maybe over traffic signals or other things. So traffic signals are not actually a traffic safety device. They actually cause more incidents oftentimes. They're just less severe than an unsignalized intersection. But there's a lot of times there's a lot more rear end type accidents and those kind of things, and the PD can share more on specific statistics and whatnot. But a roundabout, technically there's less points of contact or potential points of contact, and so it's actually a traffic safety device. You're forced to be at a slower speed because it's tougher to maneuver, as well as the fact that the most dangerous from a personal safety standpoint are the like T-bone type incidents, and that is virtually eliminated in a roundabout because you're not actually in a position to perform that type of maneuver. So areas where they are most likely to be located are areas where you don't have significant grade changes. So putting one at a bottom of a hill or a top of a hill or something like that, that's not necessarily the correct locations.
Yeah, to try to understand this a little better, I went into middle-aged dad mode. I thought about what I taught my daughter when she was 2 at the time. Here are your traffic lights, Sydney. Red light means stop. Green light means go. Yellow light means step on it. Okay? And step on it is not a safe traffic maneuver. Neither is slam on the brakes. And so therefore, not always a traffic light solution there.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay? That works for you? Good. Okay. Moving on, we want updates, and probably fairly concise updates, but you've got 4 buildings here, and we'll take them in this order. A public library first, then the Museum Center, the Baylor Building, and East Broadway. We'll give you cues if needed, but tell us more about the public library first.
Yeah, so the library, it's been under construction since August, September of 2025, and we're churning along really well on that project. There's been some little unique hiccups, and Jeremy's team has been over there a few different times. We've got some unique alarm issues that occur when certain activities are occurring. So the fire alarm goes off on a regular basis. Any of you that have had kids in there or anything will probably have heard some of that. But we're working on fixing all of that with that part of the project. That'll be done here midsummer.
Midsummer completion for the public library. Good. How about the Museum Center?
Museum, we're pretty excited about that. Working with the City Commission and kind of getting a go-ahead just recently here. So finalizing a few of the plans and some of those kind of things, and that'll be out to bid in the very near future here, coming weeks. And so seeing the bids come through and then ultimately get that under construction starting early spring. And that'll probably be 14 to 16 month construction duration depending upon a few different things.
Probably a 2027 finish line there, most likely.
Yep.
Okay, good. Baylor Building.
Baylor Building, so that will be starting basically as soon as the weather officially turns and our construction season can kick off. We'll be starting construction on that. One of the priorities that we have been communicating, and I think the public can all attest, The current circumstances, when you go take something to the Baylor building and you got to go through the scales and the, I'll use the term monotony of going through once, dropping your stuff off, and then having to round through the parking lot and go back. Those days will be over once we get the new scale system in. And so we'll have a dedicated in, a dedicated out, as well as then there'll be an individual selected scale just for commercial haulers that have frequent travel through. So.
I've been there, done that. How about a hand for only one trip through the scales at the Baylor building? Yeah. All right.
Yep.
And East Broadway Dam, what can you tell us?
East Broadway Dam, so that is a project that we have been working on for a little while now, and aside from finishing up some of the more substantial permitting attributes, we've had that permit out to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for some time now. There was this thing last fall, early winter, called a government shutdown that did not increase the time in which we received our permit at all, just put a delay on that even further. So, so working through some of the last final permitting, we assume there'll be some comments, maybe a little bit of back and forth, but as soon as we get that finalized and all permits in place, then we'll be able to get that out to bid. We're still tentatively looking at a fall construction period, so where we would actually demo out the existing dam and then put in the new rock riffles. If that's not possible based on circumstances, depending upon when we get our permitting, it may get moved to 2027. So.
Good. Final question to you. It's a pretty broad question, and it's where I invite the public to go online to thoroughly review our transportation master plan, comprehensive plan that takes us out to the year 2050. So I'm giving you both a time machine and an airplane to 30,000 feet. But if Dickinson's projected growth through 2050 stays on par, and I took an airplane out to 30,000 feet, what would be some of the most noticeable changes to our community that we are planning for in the decades ahead?
Yeah, so I think ultimately, anybody that's looked at our plan or heard about it through some of the public engagement, some of those kind of things, as I had mentioned earlier, there was a lot of infrastructure that was constructed and extended out, and a number of annexations that had occurred in prior years. And so a lot of what you'll see right now, if you look from a 30,000-foot view, is you'll see a bunch of areas, especially to the west and northwest of the community, where there's just undeveloped property. And so one of the key attributes that we had in that plan was what we call our stoplight map. So it was the green, yellow, and red, similar to an actual traffic signal. But we looked at the individual properties in particular, what infrastructure existed around it. Was it ready to develop, such as being green on the map? Is it maybe some minor attributes need to be done, or minimum infrastructure improvements? That would be in yellow. And then those that are just not ready to develop yet, but with time things will come. Those were in red. But what we anticipate is the vacant land that's currently available within the city will largely be consumed with development, and then some of the areas around the community that are not yet currently annexed, most likely there'll be some minor annexations that'll occur and a slight increase to the actual physical size. The main thing that we've been focused on as we worked through that plan was the fact that extending infrastructure and developing new property outside of the current city limits, that's a big cost, not only up front, but then long term, that could have impacts to fire, police, et cetera, for their response times. And then it's a pretty substantial cost anytime you have those additional miles of infrastructure and streets for public works to be able to maintain all of that.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. We're going to move on to Park and Rec, and Ben's going to help me with the correct naming of the award that was received for the year 2024, the National Gold Medal Award for Park and Rec District, the best in the country of communities 30,000 and under. Help me with that, but tell me about the award you received and what about Dickinson impressed that committee the most.
Yeah, so in 2024, the Park District received the National Gold Medal Award Grand Plaque, which is, as Carter stated, for communities under 30,000 in population. It's presented by our national association, and it's for excellence in essentially using the resources that you have and providing the most with what you have of those resources, that you're administering those funds responsibly, and that you're providing for your community the things that they want to see. So that's really one of the highest achievements that you can receive as a park district nationally, and we were really excited to be awarded that in 2024.
Congratulations, and I know that you know that that's a James Kramer team with a good handing of the baton over to you. Very deserving of that award. Now I got to ask you a different question here. Why on earth would you want to spend more time with middle schoolers with the programming you have going on there? Tell us about middle school teen nights.
Yeah, so the idea for our Teens After Hours really started about 2 years ago. I went to one of the youth commission meetings, and we were just having a bit of a round table discussion, and I asked the question, what is it that the teens in our community want to see from the park district? How can we better serve you? How can we better engage you? And out of that, some of the ideas was they just wanted a space and a time that they could feel like was their own. They didn't want it overly programmed. They just wanted to be able to come in, spend time with their friends, and be able to participate in activities. So out of that, we came up with the Teens After Hours ideas. We started small. It happens on a Friday night. The first year, every other month, we started with high schoolers from 9 to 11 p.m. on a Friday night. And we averaged about 75 kids to each of those programs. We decided the next year to add in middle schoolers, which presents its own challenge, but it was even more well received. So we alternated our high school nights with middle school nights, and since we've added that in, we're averaging about 250 plus students to each of those events on Friday nights. And a lot of people will ask, why would you want to do that? Well, that's what our youth commission said they wanted, and they've really come out and they've supported that. And 100%, up to this point, 100% of the cost of those programs has been through charitable donations, where people have just given funds to pay for staffing to be there. It's completely free for every student to attend, and we provide food, pizza, drinks, and everything while they're there.
Good, yeah. I've heard a high number, 375 maybe was the peak on a middle school night. That's a lot of pizza and refreshments.
That is, and that's a pretty full building.
Yeah. You had recently community input open house days or evenings that involved arriving at the door, being given 20 tickets, and then putting them into buckets reflecting what you want to see from your future park district. What were the strongest points of emphasis that came? And also, how many different times did you let Brad Fong get in line and put pickleball tickets in?
Well, I saw him. He was sitting right there by the parks board back there, so I'm sure he's whispering in their ear about more pickleball courts. So that was a good opportunity. We really appreciate how much our community engages in what we do in Parks and Recreation. This started a couple years ago as we worked towards our master plan. We put out a community survey. We got over 2,000 responses to our community survey about what facilities you use, what do you want to see in the future, what direction do you want to see from the park district. We followed it up this year with a series of open houses to kind of more fine-tune some of those ideas. We had 4 different nights. We had over 200 people come to those open houses. And we did a variety of activities, one that Carter mentioned, where we said, if you had $20 million, how would you spend it? And we gave general ideas of what things would cost, from another indoor ice sheet to indoor courts facilities to additional golf course to trails and parks amenities. And you know what we find is that everybody wants all of those things. You know, it depends on what your priorities are. And so, but it's important for us to hear every voice and to hear what they have to say. Carter said I could bring some visuals. I think he was thinking of something up here, but I'm kind of a more hands-on kind of guy, so I brought a couple of things from our open house.
Josh and Jeremy will
here we
help.
go.
They'll hold it. You talk.
All right, they're going to hold this for me. So this is an example of one of the stations we had at our open house, where we invited people to come in If you felt like we were not providing a park amenity in a certain area of our community, you put a red flag. If you feel like you want additional trail amenities, you put a green flag in. And so we gave everybody the opportunity to kind of say, this is where we think that you should do things in the future. And you can kind of see where there's some trends where people would like to have more walkability. In fact, when we did our survey, 82% of our residents said, hey, we need better trail systems through our community, better connections so we can get out and enjoy the times when we can be outside. So you can kind of see what that looks like from that perspective. Thanks, guys. You guys are amazing.
One more of these?
I got one more. This one's a little bit easier. I could probably handle this one. One of the other questions we asked was just about what amenities do you want to see in your parks? And you get a sticker and you put it where you want. Now, you can see we were way underprepared for how many people wanted to come and do this. So we added things like, do you want a splash pad? Do you want to see more trees? Do you want to see a ninja playground? Do you want to see more skate park amenities, just as an example? And people put their stickers where they wanted. It looks like, you can see across the board, there's stickers everywhere, but I would say that splash pads and ninja playground were probably two of the most popular things that people were voting for.
Good. We both opened good conversation, but I'm sure there are stones left unturned at the same time. I've maxed out my time, so I'm going to pitch you the last question. Ultimately, describe to us your passion for the role of a park district in the community. Why do you do what you do?
Well, I think if you all think to yourself about the most meaningful times in your life, what you were doing and what that was like, I would guess that it probably revolved around some kind of recreation. Time spent with family and friends in a recreational setting. And that's really why I do what I do. I really like to provide those opportunities for people to make those memories and to really enjoy the quality of life that they want to have.
Very good. And with that, and we're going to keep them here on stage because myself, with the help of the chamber, we're going to tie a bow on this event in the next couple minutes. But thank you for being a great audience. And how about a hand for our three panelists today? Good, and we'll take a tag team approach here because we want to briefly let you know events coming up from both the city and the chamber perspective, starting with the city. Good. Briefly, we have only the concept and not a date to offer you, but we think there should be a town hall public event to attend where you get better informed specifically on what all the major regional players have going on in the summer of 2026. We know the opening of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library is huge. We don't have a date to offer you yet, but it'll be likely March or April, and we will invite you back for a summer of 2026 informational town hall. Along with that, the city worked very hard for quite a while to get the North Dakota League of Cities to schedule their annual conference to be here, and they will be here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, March 17, 18, and 19. That will be hosted at the Astoria Hotel in Dickinson, the North Dakota League of Cities. Later that week, on a Saturday, the frontmen will be here. They will be performing at the West River Ice Center. By that time, we will have unveiled the full headliner concert lineup for our own series. What you're going to see us do there is to unveil one headliner each of the next 6 weeks. Beginning next week, we're going to work with our local media partners first. Mayor Decker was very bummed out. He couldn't reveal a headliner today, but he's going to be interviewed on Consolidated's Western Edge Living, and roughly 2 weeks from now, if you want to be first to see what that July 2nd headliner is, you'll tune in there first, and then we will follow up on our own social media channels. But lots of great live music coming to Dickinson. And now, and she wanted me to say this, I'm inviting Yulia Kravchuk of the Chamber to come forward. She would want you to know that the accent that you're about to hear is a thick Ukrainian accent, and she'll tell us more about events coming up that are hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. I'm sorry, I'm going to pause for just a second. I need someone at the back of the room to go invite someone who looked like they were locked out there. And now, back to Yulia for upcoming chamber events.
Thank you, Carter.
I'm easily distracted.
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for coming today. We would like to invite you to our upcoming chamber events. In April, Business After Hours. It is a great way to make new connections and introduce your business to our community. July 9th, Chamber Annual Golf Scramble. If you like to golf or just have outdoor fun, with your co-workers, friends, this event is perfect for you. July 13th, Banquet in a Field. Join us for a unique experience where you will learn about what grows in North Dakota and hear about local producers who help feed your state, our state, and beyond. July 25th, Brenda Stand. It's a fun, family-friendly event where kids become entrepreneurs for a day. August 5th, Corporate Cup. Fun team building event that brings co-workers together for a day of friendly competition and fun. And lastly, in August, our 119th annual banquet. We appreciate all our members. Come celebrate with us and get updates on our community. And now let's welcome Emma to the stage.
First off, I want to thank everyone for coming today, and I would like to thank Bravera for being our back-to-back presenting sponsors. I would also like to thank our supporting sponsors, Wynn Construction, CHI St. Alexis, Consolidated, DSU Heritage, and the City of Dickinson. I also want to thank Coca-Cola for donating the beverages. I want to thank everyone for our luncheon and table sponsors. We couldn't do it without our community. This concludes our event. Thank you for coming, and as well, we have extra hub sandwiches, so feel free to take those as you exit.